Hey, everybody, this is Ken Tucker with Changescape Web. Welcome to this episode of the Marketing Guides for Small Businesses podcast. This is going to be part two of how to craft irresistible offers, and actually even more than that, how do you promote those irresistible offers in addition to crafting those? And this is just so critically important, for 2023 as you're wrapping it up and as you're beginning, 2024. And I think too many times businesses either get paralyzed on, oh my gosh, I don't know what kind of offer to run. Um, Offers that I create, maybe they're not very profitable. I mean, maybe you think that they're good deals, but maybe they're not very profitable and actually hurt your business. Or in some cases, you create an offer that your customers just might not find very interesting. So we want to work on fixing that. And I know Ian and Paul talked some about that last week. So we're going to jump in and continue that conversation. Paul, I'm going to start with you today. Can you provide a couple of examples for each of the following types, or each of the, each of the different types of marketing techniques that you would recommend to promote offers for like service area businesses, plumbers, landscapers, home cleaning, HVAC, painters, remodelers, you name it. Just give me an idea using some different um, marketing techniques and channels on how you would do that.
Well, I'll start with social media, although a lot of times, and we've talked about this in the past, where you have to know where your target audience is. Matter of fact, I was talking to a client about this just the other day, an attorney, and he was asking about social media, and we kind of had this conversation. I said, "Let me ask." I said, "Would you go on Facebook to find an accountant?" And he said, "Hell no." And I said, "So that's you need a presence on social media." But you do need a social media presence, and like before and after photos, especially if you're a remodeler. Pinterest might be a good platform for you. uh, Facebook, before and after, if it's a visual type of business, social media can be really good for you. um, if there's any kind of seasonality in your business, create like seasonal service specials. If you're an HVAC contractor, you can have an HVAC checkup twice a year, in the fall and in the spring, you know, things like that. Instagram stories, um, not my strong suit. I don't use Instagram stories, but I've heard they work. So take a look at that. Talk to a marketing. I mean, we have other people on our team that are really good with Instagram. I'm just not that person, but talk to a marketing agency and see how they can help you with Instagram. Um, email marketing. Email marketing's been dead about 500 times, and the statistics show that it works, and it does work, and it's a great way to stay in touch with your customers. And again, same thing with the seasonal things on social media. You can do that through email. You can offer referral discounts, have put a referral program in place, and automation. We've talked about this in the past. Automation, create automated email sequences, and make sure that in your emails you have an unsubscribe link, and don't make it convoluted. And the reason I say this, I've noticed this recently because I unsubscribe from a lot of emails. There seems to be this trend where when you click on unsubscribe, it takes you to a page where it wants you to put in your email address and your name, or they want you to log into your website. I immediately mark that as spam. I block it and mark it as spam. If you're going to make me jump through 500 hoops to unsubscribe from your email list, you're going to get marked as spam. So don't do that. I even had one email, and this was from a big company. I won't say who it was, but when you click, they say in order to unsubscribe, you have to log into your account and then go to email preferences and then select what you want to be unsubscribed from. They got blocked and marked as spam. That's what's going to happen if you do those kinds of things. So just, don't make it difficult for people to unsubscribe. All you're going to do is irritate them. Content marketing, blog posts, how-to guides, videos, downloadable checklists, ebooks, things like that. Content marketing works, especially if it's done correctly. And this is, I know money is finite and people have budgets, but ideally you really want content for each stage of the buyer's journey, and that's a process. SEO is a marathon, not a sprint, and that's what content marketing is. Content is SEO and marketing and all those things, and it takes time to get all this content in place. So just plan for that.
So can I jump in real quick on that?
What's that? Sure.
Yeah. So like with the downloadable checklist, that may not come across as being real obvious that that's helping you promote an offer, right? So the way you handle that is, when somebody downloads that checklist, you talked about email marketing. So, when you deliver that checklist, you could say, oh, PS, by the way, we've got this, home winterization special going on. Or, you can even create like the last page, like if it was an ebook, the last page could be that specific offer that you're running, and then the inclination is people are looking for somebody to help them solve a problem. They may not be thinking that they want to have somebody, that they're ready to contact quite yet. But when they see your offer packaged with something that's solving their problem, then they may be more likely to take action. So even though it's not obvious, it's a really powerful way to get people to take your offers that you've put together if they're irresistible offers.
Yeah, definitely. And the whole idea of offering these checklists and things like that is to get their email addresses, and which goes back to what I said earlier, make it easy for people to unsubscribe. They're giving you their email address because they want the ebook or whatever it is. That doesn't necessarily mean they want to get your emails. So make it easy for them to unsubscribe or have an option.
I just have an opposing view of that a little bit, Paul, that I wanted to share just for our listeners to bring a different viewpoint. I actually think that when you have a more complex relationship with your subscribers, which is usually where you see those types of more, they don't have to be convoluted. They can be very simple unsubscribes. But the user preferences, that's where you brought that up as an example. I actually think that is a best practice. And I think companies that offer different types of communication channels and different types of subscriptions to their visitors, their users, people that have opted in, that is a best practice. And the reason it's a best practice is because you can offer, say you have tips and tricks, say you offer deals, say you offer latest blog posts, say you offer other things. Maybe you even have membership levels where people are invited to certain types of training. In those types of scenarios, not everybody wants every type of communication coming to their email. And that gives them the opportunity at the time of subscription to actually opt into whatever they want. And in the same token, they can opt out of whatever they want when they unsubscribe. So it is a best practice. I highly recommend it for businesses offering multiple forms of communication type subscriptions. But still, just to support what you've said, the process should never be convoluted. And I've been in the same scenario that you were talking about, Paul, where I just didn't want communication from that business anymore. And usually they have like an unsubscribe from all button and click submit, right? That is the absolute best practice that I've seen from subscription preferences.
I should have clarified that. If I hit unsubscribe and it takes me to a page which has unsubscribe from all or choose what you want to unsubscribe from, I agree 100%. If I hit unsubscribe and it says log into your account or enter your email address in your name, and then that's going to take you to another page, that's going to get you marked as spam.
Right.
Yep. Making you jump through hoops. Yep.
Yeah. The other thing I want to add, Ian, is, there are a lot of people who, just because you subscribe to one list, they assume that you want all lists. And even though you're talking about a best practice, and I absolutely agree with that, I'll tell you from personal experience, I sign up for something. All I want is a simple piece of communication around a specific topic. And all of a sudden I'm getting emails from every possible topic and channel. And, thing from a business that I never wanted. And if you make me jump through hoops to unsubscribe, you're probably not going to like the outcome of what I decide to do, because you're wasting my time massively at that point.
For sure.
So,
And the best
so it's a
practice.
bad actor. That's not a best practice. That's a bad actor practice. And that's the
No,
difference.
and what I'm going to say is the best practice, and that's
Exactly.
at the time of subscription, it's totally a best practice for the business to then say, hey, thanks for subscribing to this list or this area. Did you know we also offer these? But yeah, when they auto subscribe you to other lists, that's horrible. And you're absolutely right. That is kind of a bait and switch type scenario, which nobody appreciates. But yeah, there's ways of doing it well, and there's ways of not doing it well. And I think we've all seen scenarios on both sides of that case for sure.
Yeah. The bottom line is your list is gold.
Yep.
You know, and it's one of your most valuable business assets, and you need to treat it with the respect and the trust that your subscribers deserve, and that's really key. So if you're uncertain about it, either ask somebody, or maybe you just don't do it, and you keep communications as simple and pure and clean as possible.
Yeah.
Sorry, Paul. Did you have any other examples of marketing channels or tactics that you want to kind of go through?
Yeah, search engine marketing. These are ads. These are Google ads, Bing ads, Facebook ads. You know, it's paid advertising in some form. Now, it's good. You know, if you don't rank well, it can be a way to bring in business. But keep in mind that the average click-through rate on these ads is 4 to 6%, maybe higher in some industries, but that's basically an average. And that's just people clicking on the ads. That's not necessarily a conversion. You know, we have a client that I'll bet 85% of their business comes from Google ads. And if he ever stops paying for that his business goes away. So you definitely, it should be part of your strategy, but it should not be your only strategy.
So, Paul, since we're talking about offers, and we're talking, and in this case specifically for service area businesses, what do you see in terms of the different ads that businesses are running on a platform like Google or social media? Do they have offers, promotions, discounts in those ads, or does it just say sign up for your annual clean and check now?
Usually they're not running any kind of offer promotion, which is a mistake, because if you know you want someone to click on your ad, you're paying for that. So making some money is better than making no money. You know, I mean, so you should be offering some kind of promotion. And if your competitors aren't, it doesn't have to be anything huge. But if your competitors are offering a promotion and you're not, your ad probably isn't going to get clicked on. So you definitely have to know what your competitors are doing. And yes, I think you should be running in some kind of offer or promotion. But the reality is most service area businesses aren't doing that.
Most businesses in general probably aren't doing that, right?
Well, true. Yeah.
With Google ads and specifically. All right.
Right.
Okay. Anything else you wanted to add?
Well, I can go through a few things real quick. Search engine optimization. I talked about that a little bit. That's a process and it's a strategy, and it's something that definitely needs to be done. Partnerships within the local community, you know, referral programs, things like that. You know, if you're, you know, these BNI groups, you know, networking events, things like that. And then there's traditional advertising, you know, postcards, mailing postcards, door hangers, putting an ad in a local magazine, things like that. I talked about referral programs a little bit, and loyalty programs. Offer loyalty programs for your. Me and Ian talked about that a little bit last week. So loyalty programs can be very effective.
Yeah. All right, cool. So, Ian, I'd like for you to do this, you know, kind of cover the same topic, but focusing on retail shops, restaurants, fitness centers, brick and mortar businesses where people actually go to the physical place of business. So that could also be like chiropractors or dentists, right? So, and if possible, give us a few examples when you're going through how to utilize some of these different channels or marketing tactics to be able to promote your offer.
Sure. So I'm going to start off with email because, as we said, email has one of the highest returns on investment. So I think, and as you were saying, your list is gold. And so for most brick and mortar businesses, they've started to collect contact information, email information, hopefully also mobile phone numbers so that they can text to their customers. But this is your gold. This is people that have already tried you. A large percentage of them are going to be your fans. And they are also going to be your referral partners, right? They're the people out there that are going to be talking you up and saying how great a business you are. So email marketing, I think, is one of the lowest hanging fruits for any brick and mortar business. And so, having an offer, an irresistible offer, you should be thinking about these things really on you can chunk it out by quarters. But really, you should be, if you sit back and you think about kind of a strategic plan for your brick and mortar business, you should be thinking annually. And one of the reasons why you should think annually is because of seasonality. So we're just getting into, in the US, we're just getting into Thanksgiving, and then Christmas follows shortly. In Canada, we've had Thanksgiving. We're already gearing up for Christmas. And so, now is just an example that it's a perfect time to start to do some seasonal marketing. And that seasonal marketing should always start with your list. So offering exclusive offers to people within your list is a fantastic way to get them in. One of the big things, just using dentists as an example, this time of year, we always do use it or lose it campaigns, right? People have health benefits that expire at the end of the year. They don't roll over usually. And so, from the dentist perspective, you want your patients to maximize it for their own benefit, that they're maximizing those benefits and coming back in for cleanings, for checks, for fixes that they should have done already, but they haven't. And just reminding them that there's a monetary loss if they don't do that. So the fear of missing out can play a part there. But that's just a great example of a very low hanging fruit, very high revenue email campaign offer and that offer actually costs the practice absolutely nothing, right? You can start to add on bonuses if you want, but that one doesn't. That one's just about incentivizing people that if they don't do it, they're going to lose something.
Yeah.
Obviously. Yeah, go ahead, Ken.
Well, one of the things that I love to do is, or I love businesses to do, is to also, another holiday, if you will, is end of the business tax year.
Yeah.
And so if you're a brick and mortar business, any kind of business really, but if you're a brick and mortar business, like if you're a fitness center, maybe if a company is wanting to offer some kind of an employee benefit program, and maybe you can run an offer for them to buy a certain number of gym memberships as a part of a company benefit. And I'm not a tax accountant, so this is not tax advice. But sometimes it's worthwhile, many times it's worthwhile for a business to make an investment in this tax year to take down their tax liability, but to pre-buy something for the upcoming year, because you're getting it on this year's tax books, which could be advantageous. And you should seek, tax advice and whatnot to see, first of all, if that's an appropriate expenditure. But it's such a great year. And so many businesses just don't even think about that. It's just crazy.
Yep. Consult your accountant, because I know where I live right now, we actually have some incentives that are stopping at the end of this fiscal year or calendar year. And they are incentives by the government to do capital expenditures. And so there's some great benefit to businesses that do that by the end of the year. And I think a lot of provinces, states, countries are doing this more, especially post-COVID, to help businesses get back on their feet and to generate more in the economy.
So a great example there for brick and mortar would be somebody who sells computers or printers or equipment. Every business can pretty much take advantage of that. And if you've got an incentive from the government, there's that bonus, but then there may also be the tax benefit to get the expense on this year's tax books.
That's right. Yeah. Just going back to email marketing before I go into other forms, an example that works really well. Just thinking about another type of brick and mortar. So you're a store, you sell a product of any kind. It could be anything from cosmetics to clothing to pet supplies. But if again, it's about your list. If you start to augment that list with more information about your customers, like when their birthday is, when the birthday of their dog is, their cat, their hamster, their iguana, whatever it is, then you can celebrate that with them. That shows you care, and you can provide a birthday discount or a birthday bonus or something like that. And people love that because, first of all, it shows that you have a true connection with them. You actually understand and care that they have a birthday and that you're offering something special to them on their birthday. I get these from one of my favorite things, and I don't do it a lot because it's so high in sugar, but Booster Juice. I don't know if you guys have Booster Juice, but like Booster Juice is one of my favorite beverages, and they know my birthday, and they always send me a birthday thing saying, come in for your free drink. And I'm like, absolutely, I'll be there. So
Yeah.
And of course you end up buying more when you're there for your family and stuff anyways. So some other forms. Paul talked about social media. So you do a social media campaign. You offer something that if people redeem it, if they share a post, and then if they do some sort, like the action would be share a post, and then if they come in and show that they shared a post, they can get a special bonus or discount or something like that. So you're trying to create, first of all, an enlarging on social media, right? The whole point is to connect with people. But then if you can generate the sharing of your information, that's how you start to get, I hate to use the word viral because it's not really viral. It's just like, how do you incentivize people to start to spread the word that is of benefit to them and to you?
Yeah.
Sharing customer generated content, right? That's huge. Content marketing, blogging about industry trends. I talked about seasonality. Excuse me. At this time of year, we're talking about finishing the year strong. Like we actually did a podcast on that a few weeks ago. But how to finish the year strong for the whole purpose that you can then start this coming year stronger and have momentum going into it. And so, at this time of year, as a digital marketing agency, we talk a lot about that with our clients and with the universe that we are a part of, the ecosystem. And then we're also encouraging people to start to do strategic planning for the coming new year, because this is a prime time for that. People are thinking strategically. They actually know where they stand from how successful has our year been so far. And they also have big plans and visions for the future. And so to achieve those, now is a great time to do that. So that's just an example, but any type of, business could do that. So content marketing is huge, posting videos and tutorials on products available in your store, links to coupons. Obviously, Black Friday is coming up. Black Friday is the biggest time for sales, bar none. And so it's a massive time. And then Cyber Monday, right? So those in combination, especially for brick and mortars, is absolutely huge, just to get people into your store, to get them to buy something. And obviously you're providing some big discounts to get them in. Paul covered search engine marketing. I think all of the things are very similar, but this isn't really about forming the offer, because we talked about that previously, that there's different types of offers you can do, but it's really about delivering that offer in a way that connects with your ideal clients. And it is clear, it's concise, it's, on all of the channels that you can possibly connect with them. So that's, paid advertising, it's SEO, It's on your website and blog. It's in your social media. It's in your email marketing. And it could even be on other forms of marketing like direct mail. All of those kinds of things can be very effective if used properly.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, study after study shows that the reason most businesses most people start to follow a business on social media is because they're looking for a deal. It's just the cold, hard reality, folks. It's been that way since Facebook first launched the page feature for businesses. And so, that's part of the expectation. If you're trying to grow your social media presence, that may be a factor that you need to consider. One of the things that I love is we've got a text marketing system that actually incentivizes people and makes it super easy for them to share by email or through social media or to a text message to friends, family, coworkers, people that are in their network, an offer that is being provided by a business. And it incentivizes them by giving them reward points so that, for every person that they refer on Facebook, they earn some certain number of points or credits that could be applied to, some kind of goodie program that, the business sets up. Could be a buy one, get one. It could be, hey, get a free t-shirt after a certain level. Could be getting a premium, loyalty type reward if they've, really blown it out of the water and referred a bunch of people. They're basically building your list for you. And so you're taking your offer and you're using an omni-channel approach to promote your offer by having other people do it, user-generated referrals through these other channels. So I think that's super powerful. There's just so many things that you can do. It's not enough to just create the greatest offer on the planet. If you don't get the word out about it, it doesn't do you any good.
Yeah. I'm glad you brought up just referral programs. I always try to gently set people straight with regards to word of mouth and referrals. A lot of businesses have been built on word of mouth, and that is incredible. And you want that to continue. And the way you do that is by delivering excellence in what you do. So you shouldn't stop that. The one thing I do like to highlight with people is that word of mouth is not a lever you can pull to get more clients or to push forward to get less clients. You have no control over it whatsoever, except for the delivery of your services and being kind to people, really. Where you can start to generate more word of mouth referrals, though, is if you create a referral program like what you were talking about, Ken, or where you start to build referral partners, strategic referral partners, like in a BNI group or a networking group. And in those cases, if you present an offer that's really compelling, then you can help generate, in essence, greater word of mouth. But don't be confused. And this is just a message to small businesses. Do not be confused that word of mouth marketing is a strategy, because word of mouth marketing can be a strategy if it's actually strategic. But if you just mean we just naturally grew because of word of mouth, that is not a strategy. That is a happenstance. That is a very good happenstance, but you have no control over that whatsoever, other than delivering great service, which you should be doing anyway. So, you want strategies that are going to help you be able to control the growth of your business. So that's my little soapbox moment for the day.
Yep. Awesome. So really the last category of business, I mean, I generally kind of lump businesses into one of three categories with the types of clients I work with. I don't work with a lot of online only businesses. So maybe I'm missing a bucket or so, but the last bucket I want to talk about are professional services businesses, Paul. So these are like law firms, accounting firms, consultancies, business coaches, people like that. We've talked about the different channels, that and tactics that are out there. Anything jump out to you in terms of how professional services business might be able to promote their offers?
Yeah, it's really interesting that the channels themselves are pretty much the same, but it's more how you utilize them. For example, and I talked about a little bit earlier, social media, know where your target audience is. If you're a professional type business, you might want to put some effort into LinkedIn. Whereas if you're, a plumber, a roofer, some kind of service area business, LinkedIn may not be the best channel for you, but for professional service, law firms, accountants, things like that, LinkedIn can be a really good channel. And now you can share success stories on Facebook. You have to be careful with that, especially if you're in legal, finance, anything like that. You have to be really careful what you say. But one thing you could do Q&A sessions. You can do Ask Me Anything sessions, but again, you have to be careful with that because you never know what people are going to ask. But those AMAs have become popular lately. And again, email marketing. And this kind of goes back to what we were talking about earlier, is that if you're a financial advisor, certain clients may have certain services with you, and you probably want to send them newsletters and updates about those things, assuming they opt in. But it's also a good opportunity to mention other services that you offer. Now, if you're an attorney, if you're a traffic attorney and you notice you have certain clients that tend to get a lot of tickets like I used to, then in email. I don't drive much anymore now.
That explains so much, Paul.
If you've ever ridden with Paul, you would not be surprised.
I have. I'm still recovering.
But for an attorney, I mean, let's say you're a divorce attorney or a family law attorney. I mean, how often do people need that? It reminds me, there's a show that used to be on called Last Man Standing, and the guy owned like 20 or 28, this huge amount of outdoor stores, and he'd been married like 4 times, and it's so maybe you're a divorce attorney that has a client like that they need your ongoing services. But it's kind of the same issue with roofers. We have some roofers as clients, and that's all they do. Well, how many times do you need a roof? There's really no recurring service there. So I guess you could send emails about what to look for. You certainly should have a roof inspection on a regular basis, things like that.
Yeah, but Paul, that's a great point, because we live in a subscription-based economy. And so if you're a professional services business or a service area business or a brick and mortar business, it really doesn't make any difference. If you haven't figured out a way to create some kind of subscription model, you're missing a big opportunity. And one thing that jumps to my mind for professional services is, education, courses, memberships where they can sign up and get access to information, business consultant, have them sign up to take courses on how do you calculate ROI, or how do you do product development, stuff like that. That's all recurring revenue, and it helps you stay top of mind. And so, taking advantage of that is a big missed opportunity, I think, for way too many businesses. And I think professional businesses, it just screams opportunity to me.
Yeah, if it's done correctly, and you're right, you have to figure out a way to do that, and that can be more difficult in some industries than in others. But yeah, definitely have to kind of figure that out. And and content marketing. Now, obviously, content is going to be specific to your industry and your business itself, but we've talked about this in the past. Like, a lot of times in the financial industry, you have clients that are at all different levels of sophistication. And so when you're writing content, again, you need to have content for all those different levels, and don't use industry jargon. Most people don't know what you're talking about. Okay. You're writing content for your clients, not for your colleagues. So keep that, because you see that a lot on these financial and accounting websites where you read it, it's like, who are you writing this for? Another accountant? I mean, keep that in mind. And again, search engine marketing, use the right keywords, LinkedIn, again, might be a good place to advertise. And it's the same kind of things. Search engine optimization. This is a really good time to talk to a marketing agency. Back to what I said about how they write the content. A marketing agency is going to write content. I mean, obviously, in finance, law, things like that, you're probably going to want to have the if you're a marketing agency, you're going to want to have the client review it to make sure you're not saying something you can't or shouldn't. But you have to write that content so the average person can understand it. And again, partnerships, traditional advertising, referral programs, and all those things are pretty much the same. It's just the type of content. And like I said, LinkedIn would probably be better than Facebook. LinkedIn advertising might be better than other. If you're a professional business, LinkedIn is definitely something you should look at from both advertising and from content.
I love the partnerships and collaborations piece for professional services businesses. You can collaborate if you're an accountant. You can collaborate with a business coach and a marketing agency, or heck, even other marketing agencies who cover different types of services. Collaborate, and you're going to, again, I'm going to say it, you're going to get a force multiplication because you may also have a better chance of omni-channel marketing because everybody is going to be able to tap into the natural channels that they already have utilized and have had success with. And if you can create joint offers that you can share and cross promote with trusted business partners, and you build your referral network with other professionals instead, and let them help you refer you to clients. I think that's incredibly powerful. And again, I think it's a massive missed opportunity for way too many businesses.
Just as an example of that, I've seen this in B&I, but you don't have to be in B&I to do this. You just need to develop the relationships. But I've seen it where a mortgage broker, a realtor, a lawyer, I'm trying to remember who else was in this mix, but that's just a really cool example of where the consumer will need all of those services. And so if you're all really good at what you do and that and you can support each other, you're creating this never-ending stream of referrals to each other, which is incredible to watch.
Yeah. And so you need to educate your partners on what your offers are and how to talk about them and when to not talk about them and just refer you. So you put some work into that and it's going to pay off big time. Ian, let's talk about, I love talking about pain points. And again, I think a lot of people, when they craft offers, they come up with something that they think is cool, that sounds really great and appealing to themselves, but they don't step back and they don't put themselves in the customer situation and look at what pains are the customers having. So can you talk about the role that focusing on customer pain when you're creating your offer plays in increasing conversion and, more importantly, offer redemption? I mean, just because somebody claims an offer doesn't mean that they redeem the offer. So can you get into that a little bit?
Yeah. And just another kind of, you were just saying, sometimes businesses make offers or create offers that don't really fit with, they come up with it with just out of the blue because they feel it's a good fit for their business. Another one I see all the time too is where they feel competitive pressure because they see a competitor offering a specific type. You see this in any industry, but you see a competitor doing something, you follow suit. That can be the fastest route to the bottom of the pile heap of lost businesses. If you follow businesses that they may look successful, but be really careful about that. And the way you be careful about that is by, first of all, considering relevance. It's all about your customer. It's not about you. It's not about your competition. It's about your customer and their particular pain points. So why are they looking for your service? Why do they need your product? By understanding their specific needs and their pain points, you can tailor the offer specifically to that. And when you do that, it makes it far more attractive. It's going to increase the likelihood of conversion, and it's going to um, just create an immediate connection with their need and their desire. So I think relevance is super important. And here's the thing. If you've had your business for any length of time, you've talked to enough customers, enough prospective customers, that you understand their pain points really well. You may not have thought about it a lot. You may not have documented them, but you should. You should sit down with yourself, your team, document the pain points just to figure out like, hey, which ones align best with our services, and which ones can we help fulfill the best, and what kind of offer can we tailor to that pain point, right? Because sometimes we as business people always think of monetary discounts, but sometimes the best offer, and often most times the best offer, is not a monetary discount. It's something else that will actually meet that pain point in a greater way. The second value you need to consider is perception. So the perceived value, because it's actually not the true value of what you're offering. It's how people perceive it. So this has been a truth in marketing forever. You see this in promotional items, right? You can invest in the most expensive promotional item, but sometimes you can often invest in something far cheaper that has a higher perceived value than you would have expected. So understanding how people perceive value can be super, super powerful.
And pain is a great context to understand that.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, and pain, there's different types of pain, right? There's pain that requires immediate removal, right? You cannot continue on the way you're continuing on without immediate action. And I think we're going to get into some of those a little bit later. Is that right, Ken?
Yeah.
So I won't go into that, but it's really important to understand that about the pain points. But if the offer doesn't appear to provide a solution to a real issue they're facing, it's not going to be considered valuable, and they're less likely to engage with it. So the customer's perception of value increases with the degree to which an offer alleviates their pain point. Trust and credibility. When you show that you understand and you can address the customer's problems, it builds immediate trust. Right? You're an empathetic provider of a solution, and empathy is massive. And we'll get more into emotional connection in a second, but trust and credibility, showing that you have the skills, you have the means, you have the systems and processes, whatever it is you're offering, you have the ability and the credibility, because you have a proven track record of solving those pain points with other customers in order to solve their pain. So trust is a huge factor. And when you present a genuine desire to help someone, it creates that really immediate connection and can build long-term relationships. And then moving on to number 4, which is really about an emotional connection. We all think we buy through logic, right? But study after study after study shows that it's emotion plays a really key part. It is not the primary part, and neither is logic. They take different portions or proportions in each person and each type of decision. But it's important to know that at play always you have logic and you have emotion, and that in order to help create a bridge to logic, you often have to create an emotional connection first. So buying decisions are a very emotional process. People are parting with their time and their money, sometimes their energy. And so, and they're also putting themselves in a vulnerable spot that they may be choosing poorly, right? Nobody wants to make a bad decision, and this is a decision. And so you want to make it, you want to bridge that emotional connection as much as possible. When an offer speaks directly to their pain point, it can evoke that powerful emotional response. And by tapping into the emotions through understanding the customer's challenges, making sure that you communicate that understanding to them, you might even have a story that resonates with them, right? Or sharing another customer story. You can create a more compelling offer that resonates at a really deep level. Competitive advantage. In a crowded marketplace, understanding your customers' pain points allows you to differentiate your offers from those of your competitors. I started talking about that a lot of businesses just follow what everybody else is doing. Oh, they're offering 20% discount on their windows. I need to offer a 20% discount on my windows, or I'm not going to be competitive. That may be true. That may not be true. If you have elevated your brand to such a level and built a following of people and a higher level of trust, you probably don't need to offer as much discount as a competitor who's just starting out, who has left a wake of poor decisions, poorly executed services, and bad reviews behind their boat, right? Like the marketplace is full of those that just leave a path of destruction behind them, especially in home renovations. We see that everywhere. Like there are some real bad players in that marketplace. So if you're not one of those, then you can probably develop your offer a little bit differently. And those are probably my top list. There's more, but any other ones that you can think of, Ken and Paul?
Well, I think barrier removal is an important one.
That's a great one.
You have to, you have to put yourself in the customer situation. You have to look at what can you do to eliminate a barrier or minimize risk. So, and make sure that the risk posture that they do have to take on, because every decision has a little bit of risk associated with it, is far outweighed with the benefits of the solution that you're able to provide. And sometimes you have to help people understand that it's not always going to be super intuitive. And so, depending on the nature of what you sell, you may need to spend a little bit of time and energy doing that. A great example, you talk about home remodelers, maybe the big barrier is financing. And if they want to do the project, they'd love to work with you, but if you don't offer a financing program and a competitor does, and that may force the hand of which company they're gonna ultimately wind up hiring, and that could have been a barrier that. And look, there may be reasons why you don't want to offer financing, and that's fine. Just don't craft your offer around the type of customer that's going to need to have financing in place, and know that you're So again, you got to understand your customer. You got to understand their pain points, and now.
Can I add one more thing, Ken? You'll
Sure.
say no, but I'm going to do it anyways. I would also say, in this whole thing, you should understand the state of the marketplace, the economy, only in relation to who your customers are, right? In relation to their pain points. And the reason I bring this up is when you were talking about barrier removal, reducing the number of gates they have to go through, or making it easier for them. Just as an example, one of the home services businesses we work with, when we first took them on as being their marketing agency, we had a legacy, get a free quote form process that they had been using, and it was very lengthy. Like the average time to complete this form was about 6 minutes per person. It was a very well done intake type form that actually saved the business a lot of time. That worked in a time of great prosperity and where people had meaning. So up to and including the COVID bubble, that kind of form actually worked really well because people understood the value. And they went into it, and there was a surplus of people looking for those types of home services. Post-COVID, we actually saw a drop in conversions once people got to that, because the whole state of the marketplace had changed, and they had to reduce the barriers to somebody actually completing the form. And so you have to be aware of what's going on, how it's affecting your ideal customers, and how you can remove some of those barriers for sure.
Yeah, absolutely. So I wanted to get into a little bit about marketing automation, but honestly, we're running pretty close on time, and I definitely want to get to this last topic. So Ian, I'm
do a whole episode on that. Ken.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Ian, I'm gonna start with you, and then Paul, I'm gonna let you kind of wrap up. I love the elements of value pyramid. It was developed by, I believe it was, I'm drawing a blank. Anyway, sorry.
I can't remember either.
It was published in Harvard Business Review. Google it. Be respectful. Follow the copyright. This is but it's a highly effective tool. If you're going to use this for reference, buy it.
Are you talking about Maslow's hierarchy of needs?
Well, Maslow's hierarchy of needs is what it was kind of based on, but I forget. I think it was Bain. Is it Bain Capital? I think maybe put it together. Anyway, researchers, put together this elements of value pyramid, really looking at, how do people make decisions, and how do the levels of functional, emotional, life-changing, and social impact drive their behaviors, and how businesses, through the products and services and solutions that they offer, are solving that different hierarchy of needs of their clients. And so, Ian, I want to start with you. If you could kind of talk about the functional value level of the elements of pyramid. And I highly recommend anybody who wants to geek out a little bit, it's going to give you really great understanding of what people buy and why they buy it.
Yeah, and the key point with this whole elements of value pyramid is really, if you're trying, and you should be doing this anyways, and you're probably doing it naturally to some degree, but you need to get into the psychology, out of your psychology and into the psychology of your buyers, right? So understanding what motivates them, what is impacting their behavior. And so really within this pyramid of elements of value, there's four areas. There's functional, emotional, life-changing, and social impact. And so the functional area, which you've asked me to talk about, Ken, is really things that are quite pragmatic, right? So at a functional level, does your offer, your service, does it reduce effort on my part? A good example is like a grocery delivery service. Nowadays, it's even just a grocer that has a checkout line rather than you doing self-serve checkout. So that's kind of the highest level. Does it save me time? Does it simplify my life or a process that I do? Is there, if I'm banking, does my banking app make my life easier? Does it make me money? That's super functional. Is it an investment tool that helps me identify more profitable stock options? Or it could be anything. Actually, I see one of the things I see happening, going back to just the app or simplifies, is we see this with, because we have dog. And so our vet even has like a online subscription process where you can set up a subscription for your dog food. You can make adjustments to that over time. And like, it just makes your life easier. The food just magically appears at your door rather than, having to go to the vets.
And there's a subscription-based model too, right?
Yep. Does it reduce
normally
cost?
It was a buy as somebody thought about it, and maybe they'd go to somebody else and buy from them or buy another product. But now they're a subscription, so you get recurring. You're staying top of mind. It's good for them. It's good for you. It's a model that works.
And you know what's really cool about that's a really interesting model to look at sometime for us. But what I love about that particular subscription model is it has nothing to do with the vet. It's actually the dog food company that has created the subscription engine. The vet gets a QR coded postcard that they hand to the customer. You, as the customer, get 5% off the order that you would normally pay to the vet, and the vet gets a higher kickback as well. So it's a really interesting model where the manufacturer has created an ecosystem that is, in essence, creating a closer tie to the customer, but it's beneficial to everybody along the way.
And it builds loyalty, additionally. So, I mean, it's a great model.
Yeah. Some other functional values are, does it reduce cost? Does it reduce risk? Does it help me organize my life? Does it help me integrate different things that I use? You see this in the software industry all the time. Does my software talk to another software I use? Does it connect? A social media platform designed for professionals to network and connect with with their industry connections, or does it inform? So those are some really practical, pragmatic, functional values that are kind of at the top of the pyramid.
Yeah, I mean, I kind of see this level, when you look at Maslow's hierarchy of needs, it's really kind of that safety, security, and existential issues are largely solved in this area of the pyramid. All right, Paul, let's wrap up with you. So there are 3 other layers of the elements of pyramid, and it's a pyramid. So Ian talked about the base level, which has a bigger set of things, and it kind of gets more narrow as you go up to the top of the pyramid. So Paul, talk about just giving a couple of examples of emotional.
I inverted the pyramid somehow. I meant at the bottom.
Emotional, life-changing, and social value impact. Paul, if you could kind of just give us a quick rundown of those and maybe a couple of examples that fit into those.
Yeah, a couple of things on emotional value. First of all, does it, like we talk about there's the external need and the internal need, and one of those things, does it reduce anxiety? For instance, you see this a lot of times with dentist offices. They're practically a spa. They want you to relax, because no one likes to go to the dentist because there's this loss of control, and so they do everything they can to reduce that anxiety. And the other thing is, everyone is selfish to some point. It's like the first 10 questions is, what's in it for me? Okay, how does it reward me? You have to address that. And a lot of nostalgia, and I'll get through this pretty quick, but a lot of you see this like with candy shops or what is it, the root beer float things, whatever they are. It works. There's downtown St. Louis, there's a little candy shop in there forever, and people love going there because it's a nostalgic experience. I can't think of the name of it, but
you're talking Crown Candy?
Yes, exactly. See, you knew what it was.
I did, yeah.
I didn't. Never been there.
I've never been there.
Me neither. I've just heard of it. And then, life-changing value. Okay, does it? Trying to think of a good example of this, but does it? Financial advisor. Okay, it's retirement is something everybody worries about. So as a financial advisor, how can you help your clients understand there is a clear path, and here's what you have to do, here's what you are, here's where you have to be, and here are the steps you can do, and we can do this, we can make this work. Okay, things like that. Motivation, fitness trainers, that's really their main job, is to motivate people. That's because if you're not motivated to do something, you're not going to do it. It's just that simple. And then there's social impact, and that's a big one with the youngins these days, is social impact. And they make buying decisions based on the social policies of companies, and you have to know that. And if you're a petroleum company, you're going to have a tough time connecting to the younger generation unless you can show them what you're doing to reduce your impact on the environment. So it's just a reality of the world we live in.
Yeah, I think there's so much in this elements of value pyramid. It's an episode in and of itself for sure. But I highly encourage everybody to get familiar with it, because I think at the end of the day, in my opinion, you need to understand your emotional state, the pain points, the how do you remove the barriers, and how ultimately, how is your offer going to help transform somebody from the state they're in to the desired state they want to get into. And until you understand that and craft offers that fit that model, I think you're going to be frustrated with a lot of the results that you see. Ian, Paul, what else do you guys think?
Yeah, I love this topic of pain points and how it's tied to the offers that we were talking about. I just think, for most small businesses, you either need to hire this out, so attach yourself to a partner that's going to help you do this, like a good marketing agency, or you need to sit down with your team and actually do this hard work. It takes work, but it will pay off for itself. It will pay for itself, meaning, like, if you're doing offers anyways and your offers are not producing results like they used to, then even if they are, you owe it to yourself to do this. And yeah, I think this is a great topic, Ken. Good job.
Thanks.
Yeah, look, the world has become complicated. COVID changed a lot of things, and just the sheer number of channels out there can make this difficult. And like we say it a lot, know where you're you can't be on every channel all the time. Know where your target customer is most likely to be and focus your time and efforts there.
Yeah. I'm just going to wrap up by saying that there's a company whose name rhymes with a famous mustard commercial, starts with gray, that it's specifically designed to help businesses create offers and get people to buy, and it's very good at that, but it's typically really bad for the business because the offer structure requires such a discount and such an investment to where it literally can bankrupt businesses if you're not careful. So offer creation, while critical for success, can also be kind of the death blow to your business if you're not careful with it. So like Ian said, you got to take this seriously, work with some experts to really make sure you're doing the things that are going to reward your business financially, with customer loyalty, with profitability, but also solving the customer's problems in the way that they need, and making sure you're solving the right customer's problems. All right, with that, so next episode, we're going to be off for U.S. Thanksgiving here, but next episode is Jay Bear, and he's going to be talking about an incredibly important topic, which is, basically, speed of response, and he's going to be talking about his new book. So we're really excited about that. So make sure you tune in 2 weeks from today. Thank you. Ian, you want to take us out?
Sure. So until next week, folks, keep calm and mark it on.